Well, welcome to Train ATX podcast. I'm your host, Kelly McGill, alongside Nico Fazio. We are joined today by MLS All-Star Jon Gallagher here at the St. David's Performance Center. Jon, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited for this.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's only fitting to kick this podcast off by congratulating you on your selection. 1 in 26 to make the roster. What were your initial thoughts and feelings when you heard the news?
Oh, it was a whirlwind of emotions. I don't think it's truly settled in yet. I haven't been, I've known for almost 10 days now, but I found out in the locker room after one of the games that we'd won, the Houston game, I think. Yeah. And Anthony Precourt told me, Josh, they kind of spilled the news, and it was special being around all the guys and seeing how happy they were for me.
Yeah, that's a special moment, I'm sure. Can't imagine, but well-deserved.
Thank you.
Amazing. I mean, now you get the chance to play against Arsenal, one of the greatest clubs in European football. How big is this moment to step on the field with such a prestigious club?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's everything you'd want as a kid growing up, being from that side of the world. I've watched those clubs on TV and could only dream of stepping on the field with them. So yeah, it would be a dream come true. And I honestly can't wait to get going.
Awesome. And just kind of, thinking about you coming from that side of the world, right? What are some of your favorite clubs that you grew up watching?
I'm a Man United fan, so I didn't have much of a choice with that. As long as I can remember, it was the team that my family supported. So
nice. And who are some of your favorite players?
Ronaldo, Rooney, that kind of era. 2008, when I think I was 10, 12 years old, young teenager at that point. So obviously getting more invested in watching the Premier League and getting the chance to go over and see those players for the first time at Old Trafford. So that kind of era when they were winning Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. Yeah.
And you made note, your coach for the All-Star game will be Wayne Rooney, childhood hero. Mm-hmm. What excites you most about getting the opportunity to play under him?
I think my family are honestly the most excited, having posters and jerseys of him. And where I come from, we live and breathe football. So it'll be special, and hopefully I can sneak a picture with him. It's something that my grandparents can have up on the wall.
Yeah. So you've got all the family coming out for the game, I assume.
Yes. We're traveling in from London, Dublin, America. My wife's family will be joining, so we're going to have a little army with us.
Yeah. Wow. You're going to have quite the section at the game.
Perfect. So there's a segment, I think it's actually on your Instagram, where in a joking way, at the beginning of the season, they asked you to describe your celebrations, and you said, I never score. And then you go on this streak where, you're the leading goal scorer on the team. From previous seasons, what was kind of that turning point that you think this season where now all of a sudden you're putting the ball into the back of the net?
Yeah, I think if we look back to when preseason started, I didn't start the first game of the season. And that was most of the preseason. I was kind of out of the starting 11, and having been a starter majority of last year, and coming in and not being a starter during those 4 or 5 preseason games, I guess you could say that kind of annoyed me, to put it politely. And so I came on, I think, in the 60-something minute with 30 minutes, and I was just like a ball of anger and ready to go out and prove that I should be starting, to put it quite frank. And I think it was second or third time I got the ball, got the chance, and I just thought, I'm going for this, and scored. And the next few games after that, I didn't look back. I just kind of kept finding myself in good spots, and hopefully it continues.
So how much of that is you kind of dictating the game versus Coach Wolf kind of setting up a structure into putting you into positions where you can score?
Yeah, I mean, the coach is always going to have a specific way that he wants to play, and I think it's on you to go out and prove that you belong within that system. Can you adapt to the system? We obviously play a very tactical game here, so there's a lot of demands that Josh wants from us, and you have to be able to execute.
Yeah. As you head into the All-Star game, 2018, you were part of Atlanta's squad that won the Cup. How do you leverage or lean on that experience from that year with the team?
Yeah, it was an up and down experience. It was my my rookie year, so my first time as a pro, and I was coming into a team with the likes of Miguel Almiron, who's now at Newcastle, Joseph Martinez, that's eventually, in my opinion, going to break the MLS goal scoring record, and you're trying to compete with these guys for playing time. So it was tough at first because you've gone from playing every minute as a college player, and now you're fighting just to make the game day roster. But an experience that, I look back on and realize that it was good for me in my development. And obviously learning from a group of players that knew how to win week in, week out. So,
and a couple guys on that team that year, Greg Garza, Mike Parkhurst.
Yeah.
We had them on recently. Great individuals, just both on and off the field. How or what did you learn from them that you can take into your time now with Austin FC?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, both of them are such great guys. I didn't have my family over with me my first year, and Parky had me over for Thanksgiving dinner. Just little things like that,
Yeah.
He was our captain, but he was a good dude, and so was Greg. Greg was always one of the first people to check in on you, and sometimes you can see those old players, they don't need to do that with young guys, but it goes a long way. And although they probably didn't realize that at the time, it did rub off on me a lot. And it's funny now, it come full circle. They're retired, they're doing their own thing, and they had me on the pod, on their podcast, and I've been able to do quite well recently, and hopefully follow in their footsteps soon.
Yeah. Is that kind of your mindset, like pay it forward now that you're in a new city, year 3 with the club? The new guys that come in, do you kind of use what you learned from Greg and Mike with the newcomers?
Yeah, I think it's so important. They created a winning culture within that Atlanta team, and that's obviously something I'm trying to help do here.
Yeah, doing a good job.
I think one of the biggest things, like when we think about being a mentor, right, is what are some of the key things that we can pass on to the next generation? And if you had to go back to maybe the 13-year-old version of yourself or 14-year-old version of yourself, thinking about all the ups and downs that you've been through to kind of get to this point, what's some advice that you would give to a younger player, maybe starting at that age?
I know you're young, but dedication was huge for me. People always say, make sure you're enjoying it. For me, soccer was my one and only passion. So there was never an issue of enjoying it. I loved the sport. I loved watching it. I was engrossed in it. I just, that I lived and breathed football growing up. So for me, it was just dedication to it, getting better every day, within my youth setups at home. If it was just juggling, every moment I was pretty much just thinking football. And, at the time, my parents didn't like it as much because my academics didn't get as much love. But I always saw the big picture. That's what I tell them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you have such a unique experience, like at the youth level. You have experience playing with European clubs at the youth level, and you also have experience playing in the U.S. youth soccer system. Walk us through some of the differences that you saw growing up in between both of those types of systems.
Yeah. So, I had quite a unique childhood where my dad worked for a company that had us shipped all over the world. I was in Jamaica, Singapore, America for a little stint. And then I was over in the UK kind of doing my own thing in boarding school and bouncing between academies. I'd say that it is quite different growing up in America to the UK. Back home, grassroots football is kind of fundraised by the town, and whereas here you have to almost pay to play sometimes, which I think was tough at first for my parents, having to realize that they've got to drop, $3,000 for me to be on a team, where back home it was like chipping in 25 quid to fund the jerseys that we'd wear for the season, you know?
Right.
So that in itself, I think is its own separate issue with grassroots soccer here. I also think that the parenting side is quite different. Back home, you give away the ball at an under-8s game, you're getting yelled at by the parents, whereas here, they're patting you on the back and giving you orange slices at halftime.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more intense as a younger player, probably growing up in Europe. There's more intensity around the style of play, but also it's just easier for kids to get into the sport. I mean, it probably opens the door to more athletes to kind of get on the pitch and just start kicking around, right?
Yeah, it's weird because the US has an abundance of resources, whether it's facilities or the players itself. I mean, you have so many talented athletes within the US, yet, you've got to rent out a turf field to go get an hour on it. I mean, I realized this in the off season. If I want to go train at a field, I'm getting kicked off at 10 minutes because it's owned by so-and-so and I'm not allowed. Whereas back home, you just hop the fence, you're good. They don't care. They like seeing kids on the field,
right?
And
they're
play.
Encouraging it.
Yeah. Whereas here, they're all fenced off and locked. It's like, what do we, what is that purpose? I get that you want to maintain the turf and make it look nice, but you're not getting anything out of it long term.
And you've had this experience even as a professional player.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In this past off season, my trainer and I in Atlanta, we had to schedule times to use the turf high school field or middle school field. And even then people were coming on and asking, do you have permission to train here? Yeah, it's just...
That just seems insane to me that that's even an issue.
Yeah.
But
gone are the days of pick up anything. No such thing as a free lunch.
When you played in different countries, what was something that stuck out to you outside of the US and the UK? Like, were you playing in Jamaica as well? I've heard that culture is extremely physical.
I was quite young. I was only 8-9 years old at the time. But yeah, I mean, again, soccer was like the sport over there,
right? Which
was quite nice. And then coming to the US, it's completely different.
Yeah.
My parents were like, "Oh, you want to try baseball? All these other sports the other kids are playing," and I just didn't have any interest.
Yeah. I want to dive into your kind of preparation for game days. We've had Dave Tenney on and a sports psychologist who both cover, the physical side of the game as well as the mental side of the game. For you, what goes into game day prep during the week, maybe even in the off season?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously starts with the first training back. You've just played a game. How can you recover and get your body and your legs back as quick as possible? And then it's kind of ramping up throughout the week, building towards that game. You want to have a couple intense sessions during the week to keep you ticking over. And then Thursday, Friday are pretty low key. But for me, the biggest thing is routine. I like to do the same things, eat the same food on the game day, kind of making sure I have no stone left unturned.
Yep.
So that's the biggest thing for me, consistency, whether it's, OCD, the way I prep for a game, or I'm superstitious. I just like to know that if I've done set things, then I'm ready.
Yep.
Let's talk about that a little bit more.
I know. I was going to ask, what are some of these superstitions?
Everybody has kind of, maybe a certain way that they put on their socks, or there's a certain warm up that you do. What are some things that you do that are kind of part of that superstitious part of your game?
Yeah, I'd almost have to they become so routine. I just do them naturally now because I've been doing them for hundreds of games. But I'll eat the same foods if it's been working for me over we won. Then I'll eat the same pre-match meal, whether it's rice, sweet potatoes, some eggs or chicken.
Okay.
I'll kind of mix it up between that.
Okay.
If we lost the 1 week with chicken, the next week I'll do like eggs or something. So
okay, so it's that drastic. If something went wrong in that game, you're completely switching.
Or depending on how I felt,
Yeah.
I'm pretty precise with how I do my hydrations. If I felt I've drank too much water,
Right.
then I'll say, okay, I only need 2 bottles from my Yeti instead of 3,
Right.
or more electrolytes. So I'm pretty dialed in with all that stuff. And obviously we play at such a high level, it's fine margins. So I like to try gain those 1%.
Yep. Yeah, we hear you have a pretty strict diet. 1, what does the diet entail? And 2, what led you to kind of, obviously you're a high performing athlete, but what led to that decision?
I think just as I got a little bit older, I couldn't just stroll out onto the pitch and start whacking balls at the goal like I used to. My groins and my hips wouldn't feel too great doing that anymore. And just from like an inflammation standpoint, trying to keep that as minimal as possible. We play so many games at such a high level, intensity with the heat. I'm always just trying to be at my peak. So for me, my number 1 rule is just no processed foods. So it's all natural. And then number 2, I do pretty much gluten-free as well. So it's a lot of rice, sweet potatoes, vegetables, organic meats, organic fruits.
Yeah.
And what did you eat right before you came onto the show?
I had a little spaghetti bolognese without the spaghetti.
Okay.
Yeah. The chefs know. They
know John's drill. Yeah.
So if we keep winning every Thursday, we're having bolognese.
Yeah.
It
was delicious. I let him know.
Okay.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I'm always intrigued. You've got Tom Brady. Well, and
he was an actually like a little inspiration. I saw his like drastic diets. I know he does like no nightshades, all this stuff, and I was like, I don't even know what a nightshade is. I looked into it and I was like,
like
hey,
a lamp, like a nightshade.
Yeah, I was like, that's a bit too extreme. Yeah. But no gluten. I try to minimize dairy.
Yep.
And I feel pretty good. I feel light, strong, fit. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I know. I want to try his avocado ice cream that he has.
No, I don't do that. Okay. I bought a Ninja Creamy.
Oh,
those things are amazing.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those all over social media, and I'm like, I feel like I need to get one.
It was a good investment.
Okay,
we got one on sale, and we bought it with like our wedding
registry. Yeah,
yes, that. And then my wife picked like everything, but that was the one thing I got. So like protein ice creams.
Oh wow, okay.
We did
we need the recipe.
Yeah, we did like a pineapple mango sorbet the other night, and it was like just fruit.
Fruit.
And it tastes amazing.
Do you have like milk, water, dairy free?
Like coconut water.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you get those electrolytes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm getting one. Wow. I'm a foodie, so I love all food.
We could probably have a whole nother segment just on the foods that we like. But we actually got to sit down with Dave at the very beginning of the season, and one of the comments that he made that I thought was really interesting was that if you kind of look at the data and analytics behind some of the players, acceleration, deceleration, he mentioned you as someone who actually has like ranking it as the top player in those categories. Is that something that you've developed over time? Eating the right foods, right? Doing the proper hydration, training, stuff like that. Or have you always kind of had like a core level of being one of the faster guys on the team?
I would say fast, yes. I've always had my speed, but fitness, no. I used to, in high school, actually run twice, and then I was gassed. And I was so frustrated because I felt like I was leaving so much out there. In terms of productivity and, getting the ball, my legs are already gone. And so it was actually when I joined college, working with the strength coach there, and I went in early before my freshman fall, and I joined summer school, and we were on the track 6 a.m., 4 times a week in the gym lifting. And that's when I really started to learn, like, okay, I've got to be much, much fitter if I want to play at a high level. And that's where it kind of began. Matt Howley, who was with Real Salt Lake, he was the first person that kind of told me, like, if you want to, go to the next level, this is the amount of high distance that players are covering.
Wow.
And I wasn't at that level at the time. As I said, I was fast. I could beat players in a sprint, but towards the end of the game, my legs were starting to go. And that's kind of where I started to build my base.
Wow. And how old were you?
I was like 17, 18.
17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And that was really the turning point on dedicated focus specifically at the track just to get you that next level.
Yeah, we were up 6 a.m., 6:30, either on the track or on the field, which had a track around it. So
yeah,
there was no ball or anything in sight. It was just show up and we were running.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a little easier to run at Notre Dame than it is compared to run here over the summer.
Texas,
Might pass out a couple of times if that's the case.
Wanted to talk about the, fan support you've received here, just the club's received here in general. What has it meant to see this community of Austin rally around you all like they have?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's truly an honor every time I get to go out and step foot in Q2 Stadium and play in front of the city, these fans. When I got traded here, I was a bit apprehensive, having known how the MLS soccer was in Texas. I didn't know much about the city of Austin. I'd never been to Texas before. So to come here and just see, from that first game, I still remember walking out of the tunnel and there wasn't a seat empty. And I was like, okay, soccer has made its way to Austin, and we've kept our foot on the gas ever since.
Yeah, it's been surreal. I mean, just as fans, not playing, but just seeing the stadium and how there's something for everyone. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to be a soccer fan to enjoy all that Q2 has to offer.
Yeah, I think like the colors, just the singing, everything. Yep. It's just it really is a unique place to play.
It really is. Yeah.
Does it ever get I'm sure it's not distracting for you because you're on the field and you're going through like your sequences on the field and where you need to be. But as a fan, like just seeing the supporter section behind the goal, like they're insane people. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine like holding a flag for 90 minutes and just like literally that you do that the whole game. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, I say it all the time. It's like they jump more than we do. Like they're constantly on their feet and probably sweating just as much in this Texas heat.
We should get some fitness analytics on the supporter section.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing arm workouts in preparation. That's their game day prep. Arm workouts to the nth.
So outside of game day preparation and all that stuff, what do you like to do off the field?
I'm pretty low key. Yeah. I wouldn't say boring, but borderline. Like I don't do a lot. A lot of my life has revolved around soccer. So if we've had a tough training session, I'm back home and just trying to recover, eat the right foods, get ready for the next day because it's nonstop. And the MLS season's a grind, and you've got to be in tip-top shape all the time, and on top of your sleep, your nutrition. But I'm not a robot all the time. I like going out to dinners with my wife, spend a lot of time with our dog. We'd go parks, play Frisbee. We'll throw the Frisbee. I'm not catching the Frisbee. And we like to explore downtown, the Domain. But when I'm home, I'm chilling, playing video games with my friends or watching TV.
Okay, nice.
Have you guys discovered any favorite restaurants yet? Like your go-tos?
There's a couple. I mean, there's so many good ones. We like ATX Cocina.
Solid.
That's
because that restaurant I think is all gluten-free.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I actually think you're right. Yeah. Now, if I go out to dinner, I will eat some.
Okay,
bread.
wow. That's when we're okay. As long as we're about 4 days out.
If we go to an Italian, like I'm gorging myself in garlic bread and pasta. So
wow, just
I like to live a little.
Live a little splurge.
I hear you on that. That's for sure.
Red Ash is one of my favorites.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
They're burrata, like starter. That's one of our favorites too.
I feel like anything I've ordered there, I'm like, nothing's been
Yeah.
can't go wrong. Along the lines of like game day, away games with the travel, the time change, does your game day prep differ on away games, or do you try and again keep it pretty consistent, pretty routine?
I mean, it will, just based on we're in a hotel. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
When I'm at home, I have, my car if I want to go out and grab something or just kind of open my legs up. You're eating hotel food. So sometimes it's good depending on the city. There's some places you're like, ugh, remember their hotel food? It was terrible. But
what city has the worst hotel food?
Depends on the hotel that you go to. So like Seattle this year was good, but Seattle last year was like, I wouldn't feed it to my dog.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I have no problem saying that either.
Seattle, shout out.
Wow.
Food's terrible.
DC though,
what
amazing.
hotel.
Yeah.
The
The last
hotel's
hotel.
gonna be great.
I don't know what hotel we stayed in, but it was, a lot of guys were complaining.
What do you listen to pregame? Like, what's on your Spotify playlist?
A lot of like rock music.
Okay.
Yeah. I just got into that like a couple of years back. So
Like, what kind of rock music? Because there's a spectrum there of like what we're getting
I listen
into.
to like Kiss or like AC/DC.
Okay, like a little throwback.
Yeah. Some
Okay, some
older
classic rock.
Yes, classic rock.
Okay.
That's a better way of putting it. I'm not listening to like 2000s.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like you could even go metal.
Yeah.
Right.
no.
I mean, if you're going into like a physical match or something like that, I don't know.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, listen to
Okay.
those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I like that.
Never gets played in the locker room, so
Yeah.
I try to enjoy myself in the car ride before.
Who is the locker room DJ?
So the kit man, Andrew Roberts, will have his stuff on when we arrive, and then he'll get chucked to the side, and Danny Pereira usually takes it.
Okay.
Can be like heavily Latin influence sometimes.
Some reggaeton.
Yeah, but like they only play like 4 different songs, so at this point, like I
Right.
know all the lyrics too. So.
Hey, there you go.
But no, it's fine.
Nice.
Whatever keeps the mood light.
Absolutely. There's been like a lot of different players that have come into the locker room over the last season. Some big signings. When those guys start to come into the locker room and stuff, and you start to build kind of a relationship with them on the field, off the field, what does that process kind of look like? How do you guys kind of get to know each other a little bit?
Yeah, you obviously want to see how they integrate at first. Are they shy? Are they open? How are they in training? Naturally, some guys will be a bit more outgoing. Are they jokesters? Are they super serious? So you just try to
Right.
get a feel.
Yeah.
If you'll get along with them as friends or just kind of teammates. The biggest thing I've noticed in my career is that you're not going to be friends with everybody on the team.
Right.
But you can be friendly with them and,
Yeah.
get along with them well. You don't need to be hanging out with them outside one-on-one, but,
Right.
you can make jokes with them. And, I think in Austin, we have quite a good locker room. I've been other places where that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But here it's pretty inclusive and everyone, I wouldn't say there's any bad eggs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the bits that we had with Mike and Greg when we were talking to them is the aspect of different languages, right? In the position that you're in, I'll give an example. Like Johan Valencia from Cali, Colombia, comes onto the team. He's 100% speaking Spanish, right? When a guy like that comes onto the team, how are you guys interacting with each other? Do you have a translator? How does that relationship work?
Yeah, I mean, on the pitch, it's not really an issue. Like, there's you just kind of
Couple key phrases.
Yeah, a couple key phrases. But outside of that, outside the locker room, or outside the field, so you hope that they're learning a little bit of English, or you can learn a little bit of Spanish. There's guys on the team that can speak both. Hector, Jimenez, Danny Pereira, they usually do some translating for us.
Okay,
but they're all really good guys.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. talking about Austin FC's academy, I know that has been such an essential part of this club's long-term vision. How do you personally engage with the youth, and whether it be through community events or different activities the club puts on? How do you interact with the youth here?
Yeah, I mean, we have the ATX2 team now, which has been quite a big step for the club in terms of developing younger players. They'll get the chance to come over and train with us at times, whether they're the sparring team, and we get to just attack them for a couple minutes or work on some tactical stuff. But yeah, it's great because I was once in their shoes too, where I'm coming up to train with the first team, and you're a little nervous, and you're trying to make them feel welcome and comfortable, but also tell them, like, this is your chance to show yourself and see if you can compete at this level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I mean, I feel like obviously living in Atlanta, we had the club there, but I feel like Austin's just done such a really great job in just making it very well known that, like, this is a part of their long-term game plan.
Yeah, and it should. I mean, it's a great resource. You obviously, the goal is to get as many players that you can up to the first team, and whether they're staples within the team for a couple of years, or you end up selling them like other clubs have for millions of dollars, and then you can put that back into the club. Yeah, I mean, this club is run really well, and I'm sure there's great strategy behind everything.
Yeah, very well thought out.
So what's next for you? I mean, you've gotten to the level of MLS All-Star, which is a huge accomplishment. Is there interest in even maybe taking that even a step further, maybe at the international level? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I've obviously set out goals for myself, and some pretty lofty ones that I thought deep down, am I ever going to get close to this? And now I'm in a place where I am achieving those goals, and a few years back, I thought that would be impossible. So, I'm always trying to keep going, and my goals now are, hopefully make a national team appearance, whether it be for my home country in Ireland, or working on my citizenship for the US. World Cups coming up, European competitions. I'd love to represent at the national level, and we'll just have to see.
Let's say you get the US citizenship. What would you choose? Would you choose the United States, or would you choose Ireland?
No, I'm not going to answer that just yet.
TBD on that. TBD. But probably the United States, I guess.
They got a lot. Both countries have a lot of fullbacks. That seems to be like the most populated position. So, be tough.
Tough decision. We don't have to make that announcement.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when hopefully when we get there.
Yeah.
Before we hit the rapid fire game that we do with each of our guests at the end, I know that you probably have personal goals for yourself each season, but this club has made such a splash and, playoff run. Where do you see this team in the next 2-3 seasons?
Competing for trophies. That's always been the goal. Josh made it clear to us that we're a club that's ambitious and should be at the top of the table, competing for trophies every year. This year has obviously been a little bit of a struggle with the Open Cup and the Champions League, but there's still trophies out there, and MLS is such a quirky, funny league where you don't have to be playing at your best, until the last few games. You make playoffs. You've got a little bit of momentum. Yep. You can make a run. And then obviously Leagues Cup coming up too. Mm-hmm. Really exciting. We'll have 2 games at home, so hopefully start us off on the right foot. Yep. And we'll see.
We'll see. We shall see. And we'll see how everything pans out in the All-Star game.
Yep. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know we warned you before the interview. This is our rapid fire game. We're about to hit you with 10 questions. First thing that comes to mind, word, thought, just go with it.
Okay.
All right. Favorite restaurant in Austin?
ATX Casino.
Okay. Name one hobby of yours outside of soccer.
Playing with my dog.
What's your dog's name?
Leo.
Leo.
Yeah. He's a yellow lab.
Oh, such a cutie. Wow. Bucket list trip.
Going to multiple Premier League grounds in the UK.
That's amazing.
Super legit.
Yeah.
Have you crossed them off your list?
I've gotten a couple, but I've convinced my wife that this off season we will be going
checking
over.
some more.
Yeah. I said we have to go visit Ireland to see my relatives, but we'll also be going to the UK and trying to go to like as many games as possible.
That's amazing.
Love
And she was in. She's like pushing for it just as much now. So whatever I did was right.
She's on board.
We did honeymoon last year, so she got
Okay.
like the tropical.
Okay.
Now we can go
Now we're
freeze
going
our
to go to some
butts
football.
off. Yeah.
Love it. If you weren't playing soccer, what would you be doing?
Coaching
Coaching.
soccer.
Okay, coaching soccer.
Yeah.
Still around the team. Most recent Hulu, Netflix, Apple TV binge.
Binge. Blackbird on Apple TV.
Ooh.
You seen it?
No, have not seen it. Just finished
It's a little dark to talk about on the
Okay.
podcast, but
Okay. Blackbird.
extremely riveting.
It's for our adult viewers.
Okay.
Yes,
For sure.
Yeah.
MA content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished Ted Lasso. And
We watched that too. Yeah.
I'm just like, Nico, you need to watch. Nico hasn't watched it. He's only watched like 2 episodes.
I've watched the first season.
Okay, well.
We love Ted Lasso.
So good.
Yeah.
I was not ready for it to end.
know.
So if
We thought-
Jason wants to bring it back,
Yeah, we have absolutely no issues with that.
no issues. Season 4. Let's go.
All right. All time favorite player.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite quote.
Luck is when opportunity meets preparation.
Love that.
We were going to say bonus points if you have it tattooed somewhere. We've had like 6 guests on, and they.
I also have the man in the arena tattoo from Theodore Roosevelt.
Okay.
I have the man in the arena tattoo. I have the quote up on my board like as I leave the house.
Ooh.
And so I see
Is it
that
kind of
one
like the
every month.
believe, do a little tap?
I see it like as I'm heading out the door. I don't tap it or
okay,
anything,
okay.
but
Could be a pre-game superstition that we haven't tapped into yet.
yeah, man in the arena. It's a good quote. It's
Nice.
long, so I couldn't
Yeah.
rephrase it for you now, but
We'll have everybody look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google.
Google.
Right. So, all right. If you didn't play soccer, what sport are you playing?
probably Gaelic football back home. Anyone
Okay.
doesn't know, that's a sport that we play back in Ireland, and that's what I did play.
Describe that.
It's like a mix of football and rugby. You can use your hands. It's
pretty physical.
Yeah, very physical. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up. Go look
Yeah.
up some highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite city to play in outside of Austin?
Oh, it's supposed to be rapid fire. Portland.
Portland.
Portland is a great stadium, great atmosphere.
Great hotels.
I thought you would have said.
Yeah.
I totally thought you were gonna go Mercedes Benz.
Wow.
That's got to be up there, right?
I mean, yeah, but
It's a rapid fire.
yeah, we don't have to get
and
into
now we're
that.
getting explanations.
It's good, but the fans seem so far away from the field.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so
Okay.
where the first row starts quite
Yeah.
high up.
It's back
But
there.
it's like a spaceship, that stadium. You're like almost overwhelmed by just like the roof and
yeah.
I do like from a fan's perspective, like how they've created the element of like being on the field.
Yeah, that's
That's cool, but it does take away from some of the like seating.
Portland's grass, right?
Turf.
Their turf is.
Yeah, but good atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
Nashville's good too. Their new stadium was good to play in. Yeah. Rapid fire.
Yeah.
Most memorable goal scored in your career.
It would have to be the first goal here at Q2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That or my goal against Rangers was like my first professional goal. So
Oh man,
that was a
that's
big one to
epic.
score. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this
one.
might be a silly question. Do you guys get to keep those balls kind of like the
Yeah.
baseball? Okay.
Oh, I've got
So you're
them.
like, take that off.
Yeah, I've got them back home. I've got like the boot that I scored the goal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's epic.
Mm-hmm.
Just building the man cave
Yes.
for sure.
My wife loves it. She's like, it's my shrine.
Love it. Yeah. She approves. Bucket list trips, man cave.
Yeah.
Check.
Right on. we'll go ahead and close it right there. I've got like a little closing segment that I'll say, but really solid job, dude.
Thank you.
Appreciate
very
you
much.
having me
Yeah,
on.
it was fun.
So, all right, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at TrainATX. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and share this episode, and we'll see you next time.